How you doing? This is Steve Sylvester. I've never recorded myself this way, so bear with me. I was born back in 1971 and found out approximately 3 days after that I had PKU. Now, unfortunately, I was being fed regularly as a normal child, but the problem was we didn't know. So after a few days, my mother found out and we went to the hospital. As it turns out, my mother's life got turned upside down. Starting with me. Ha ha ha. Don't worry, I can't see the camera lens too well, so I keep looking away like this, and like this, and like this, and it's kind of funny. But here's the video. Back in 1971, I was a baby. Apparently. That's what they tell me anyway. So, actually, what I wanted to tell you is my life, I don't really remember too much. I was pretty young back then. But every day I was living on a formula called Lo-Phenolac. I loved it. It was like candy to me. The doctors warned my mother never to taste it because apparently it was putrid and nasty. My mother left a jug in the fridge one time and it went bad. Needless to say, she had to scrub the entire fridge and dump it out. It was worse than sour milk. So, here's what we're doing. We're going to tell you. Once I started school, things seemed to be okay. They seemed to go pretty well. But the problem was, slowly creeping up was a few little anxieties that I had as a child. They diagnosed me with a learning disability. That's what they called it. And put me in a special class. Throughout the years, I went through school skimming by. When I was in junior school, grade 3, grade 4, there was a joke with my friends. The joke was that the teachers hated me so much that they could not wait to pass me, so I did not have to be in their class the next year. Kind of a funny joke. Once I hit grade 6, I failed grade 6, but they made me go into grade 7 anyway. So, now I'm in grade 7. Things seem to be okay. I failed grade 7. Well, then I got to fail grade 7 a second time. Then, since I couldn't do it, turns out I failed 3 times in a row. So now I'm a couple years behind the rest of my friends, and they're all in grade 9, starting high school, and I'm still trying to get through grade 7. Not a good situation. So now, instead, the school board decided to put me into grade 9, so I'm with all my friends of the same age. Last thing you need is a 38-year-old guy in grade 7. Haha, very funny. Okay, so now I'm finally in grade 9. Things went pretty well. I started getting A's in my classes, some of them. Apparently, I got an A in science and an A in drafting, and I did fairly well in a lot of my shops. For some reason, I started actually doing better. Now, by the time I was 7 years old, I was taken off my special diet, and I was told I could eat like a normal person. Now, once I hit high school, I started cooking for myself. Now, I'm not a chef, so I lived on hot dogs, bologna sandwiches, and French fries for the first few years. When I moved out on my own, basically, what did I do? I kept eating hot dogs and French fries. Yeah. So I started working for a while, but for the first, dozen years or so, I could not keep a job any more than a few months at a time. So what I found out after about pushing close to 17 or 18 years, I got self-employed. I started my own lawn care business. And I started at Weedman first for 4 years. They had a great training program there. So I became a lawn care specialist. After that, they laid me off and I started my own business called Cutting Edge Lawn Care. So then I started working my business. Unfortunately, my health went out the window a couple years later and I lost the vision in my left eye. Now, I decided to move back to my hometown. Unfortunately, because of my health, I was unable to do my lawn care. So after a couple years, we decided to open up a pub in the area. And that's where Anna's Pub was born. We ran the pub for a few months, but unfortunately my landlord was not paying his mortgage, and the bank ended up closing the whole place down. So, needless to say, I am now finding out from the doctors that I'm needing to go on to disability due to a spinal injury I have from being hit by a car 6 times when I lived in the city. It could have been that, or it could have been when I fell down the stairs a couple times. I really don't know. Needless to say, here I am now, an old guy of 34. No, I'm not 34. Haha, just kidding. I wish I was 34. I'm an old guy of 43, and I'm trying to keep my life together. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to want to be the case. So, it's an uphill battle for me. Things are going well. For some reason, now after 36 years of being off my diet, I tend to think very quickly. I tend to talk very quickly. I tend to lose my short-term memory very quickly. I do have a little issue with short-term memory, but my long-term memory is like a steel trap. Basically, the thing is, I'm not very good at telling my life story. I don't write things down because I like to rely on my brain to remember. Maybe that's part of what's good about it. So, basically the thing is now, I'm sitting here telling you my story about PKU. Much easier to talk than it is to write. Yeah, all of this is not going to fit in 500 words. 5,000 maybe. So, now I'm working on a plan to try to pull together some people with PKU in my area. I am the only PKU person in this area, as far as I know. From what I was told, there's a few in the area that I don't know. But because of privacy issues, the hospital cannot tell me who they are. So, yes, PKU Global is awesome. But you know what? This is Canada. PKU Canada. Let's pull those people together. And welcome to the Cooperative PKU Alliance. Have a great day. Be cool. Yeah.